Welcome to Retire Right with Rick Durkee, presented exclusively by the Coastal Financial Planning Group here on News Radio 94.3 WSC. Rick Durkee is the retirement income planning and wealth distribution specialist in the Lowcountry. Are you ready to retire right? Here's your host this morning, Shane Griffin.
Good morning. Welcome in for another edition of Retire Right with Rick Durkee. I am your host, Shane Griffin. Each and every Saturday morning here at 9 o'clock, I have the privilege of sitting down with our local retirement, income planning, and wealth distribution specialist, Rick Durkee, to help you to retire right. Good morning, Rick.
Good
to
morning,
see you, sir.
Shane. Hey, glad to be back here in the studio with you, and thank you for joining me here on this Saturday morning and every Saturday morning on 94.3 WSCFM.com.
Always a good time, lots of good information. The topic this morning, the top secrets of wealthy retirees. Before we get to the topic, a few reminders to keep in mind. Number one, if you miss a program, you can check the podcast page at 943WSC.com and do a search for Retire Right with Rick Durkee. All of the programs are there with their titles. So if you heard something, if you missed the show or want to listen to another program, you can do that. You can also check the podcasts at Rick's site, cfpgroup.biz. cfpgroup.biz. Also at that site is his calendar of events. Lots of activities and events coming up over the next couple of weeks. So you want to check the calendar of events at cfpgroup.biz. And if you'd like a transcript of the program, you can call the office and they will provide that to you, 843-735-5065.
Because sometimes when we're listening, we might miss something and want to listen again.
That's right, absolutely.
Or want to refresh our memory on what was talked about in a prior show.
So we've covered that. Now let's get to the topic. Rick, from time to time, I think it's a good idea to look at the habits of successful retirees, and we've done that over the past couple of years with a couple of articles. We like to see what they're doing and how they've done well, and then pass that knowledge on to our listener this morning. Found an article from last year. It's still timely, though. The article was found at time.com/money that shares some good information on successful, wealthy retirees. Before we get into the article, Rick, I wanted to take a moment with you and have you talk about some of your most successful clients over the years, and what are some of their traits that you see?
Shane, I would say, first of all, we might want to define what success means.
Okay.
I'd say success means a non-stressful, happy retirement. Mm-hmm. And in order to have that, you need to have some defined plans and be able to integrate into those plans some sources of income that are somewhat structured, somewhat safe, somewhat secure, somewhat I don't like to use the word guaranteed because everyone understands in this world that nothing is guaranteed. But if we look at things that are structured to provide us a high degree of confidence that they will come through with the promises that were provided without major change, i.e. Social Security, we do have some sources of income that when we add those all up and then we take out from that what our expenses will be, oftentimes these successful clients of ours that are wealthy because they do have a sound plan for their retirement and they have made critical decisions early with all the facts, they just seem to be better off. I mean, you look at some of the most successful people that preceded the baby boom generation, the wealthiest generation, the people that are our elders now that are in their 80s,
the greatest
90s,
generation,
the greatest generation. They had defined plans for those sources of income, and they were very successful in retirement, and they were wealthy because they had a happy retirement. They had a stress-free retirement. They had these sources of income come in, and oftentimes they saved money because they didn't spend money down quite as fast, and they had no income gaps to fill, so they actually had dollars that they could save. So the most wealthy, successful clients that we work with are ones that have a good plan in place to accumulate their wealth to start with. Then they have plans to use that money in a structured method throughout their retirement. and they also have streams of income that are coming in that they feel fairly confident that those streams will not change. In fact, if they're pretty advanced, they're going to look at how those streams of income will offset inflation, because inflation is also a silent killer if you're of that dollar's value if you're looking at a 30-year span in retirement. Because let me ask you this question. Think about what things cost 30 years ago. Now, you were just an infant, so you don't remember. But
I was 12 30 years ago.
You were 12, but
a gallon of gas, 70 cents. I remember when it was that. I mean, absolutely. Things are getting, pricing is a lot different when it comes to those items for sure.
You know what's funny? I had a fellow make a presentation one time. He took out a Sears catalog from 1975
but that was something to see.
Or something like that. Well, shoot, man, I was in high school back then. I didn't remember all this stuff, but you could get a set of tires for like $40, in the Sears catalog.
Wow.
It just shows you what inflation has done. But again, Shane, our wealthy prospects and clients, they just have a sense of security about them, not from the fact that they have so much money. It's that they have a plan and that they can see that plan come through fruition, and they know that they're still saving for a rainy day, and they have money set aside for a rainy day in the future or future concerns that they may have for health care or things like that, things that they know will perhaps cause a slight financial roadblock for them in retirement. It's protected. It's in the plan. And they've thought through those things. So that's what they look like, and that's why they're happy.
Good to know. Well, let's jump to the article again, founded at time.com/money. The article was written by Mr. Dan Kadlick. Successful retirees still save nearly a third of their income. A third of their income from their pension and 401k distributions. So, Rick, even when retired, savings is still a big deal, isn't it?
It sure is.
And we
Shane.
touched on this last week when we talked about just because you retire doesn't mean you have to stop saving.
That's right. In many cases, this continued saving, Shane, comes from income streams that are guaranteed for life, such as your traditional pension, certain annuities that you may have set up on a private basis with either your IRA dollars or your non-qualified assets, or Social Security. So further saving may have little to do with financial security and much to do with a routine that served these people well over the years. They were savers during their accumulation years.
Right.
They did get that employer match and perhaps put some extra into that 401k. They did set up a Roth account for future tax-favored dollars. They did put money into their brokerage accounts with their after-tax dollars and invest that and grow that. They did build up the equity in their homes through their mortgage payments over that 15 or 30-year period. So this is nothing, earth-shattering or whatever. It's not top secret or anything like that. It's really that simple. They had a plan and they saved with their extra. I had a mentor in my life that when I entered the financial services industry over 23 years ago, he helped share some nuances with me. I've referenced some of those with our listeners over the years here, and one of them was that you need to save for yourself first with every paycheck that you get. You reward yourself with a little gift. Maybe it's a new tie or something like that. Folks, it's not a Porsche 911.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
It is a gift that says you worked hard this week, you deserve this. Maybe it's dinner out with your wife or something like that. But celebrate that work week and your hard work because you got a paycheck for it now. Yeah. And spend a little bit on yourself. But secondly, save for yourself first. Yeah. Save for yourself before you pay your bills. You have to save. You have to get in that habit of savings. And there's no reason to stop that throughout retirement years also, because there may be a rainy day that comes along that you need to access those monies and cover some type of financial roadblock sometime in retirement. And healthcare certainly is one of those areas.
Well, according to research, retiree income flows from 5 primary sources, Rick. Guaranteed lifetime income is the biggest at 42%. Withdrawals from tax-advantaged accounts like IRAs and 401k plans are the second biggest source at 20%, followed by pay from a part-time job at 12%, then withdrawals from savings accounts and from specialty accounts like cash value life insurance policies. Your thoughts on the order of these and how your clients use each of these vehicles to help them win in retirement?
Well, Shane, perhaps this would bode well to go back to your first question about this discussion of the most wealthy, successful clients, because we can just go down this list here, and I can cite, in my mind, several clients that have been successful and will continue to be successful through retirement based on these percentages that you just gave us. First of all, I would say that one of the traits that the wealthy and the most successful retirees do is that they know what questions to ask. They know what questions to go into their tax planning meeting, their tax forward planning meeting with their financial planner or their CPA, and gather this information so that they can be proactive with their income for the future or their wealth that they distribute to others in the future. So it's not just knowing the questions to ask, it's implementing those strategies that you learn from getting the answers to those questions. Retiree income coming from the source of guaranteed lifetime income at 42%. Well, for the last half of a year now, we've been offering the book Income Allocation. It offers a strategy to take approximately 40 to maybe as much as 60% of your retirement assets and place them into guaranteed lifetime income products. So that guaranteed lifetime income at 42% might be your Social Security. It may or may not be your pension. But if we have to look at 42% of the wealthiest are getting that income from guaranteed lifetime income sources, what they did is they said, is there an income gap? Well, I got to make some more guaranteed lifetime income. Is there not a pension? Maybe I sold my business and I got this lump sum and I got to create this guaranteed lifetime income. So I see people putting 40, 50, maybe as much as 60% into these guaranteed lifetime income products. They're called deferred annuities to create this income for themselves. Withdrawals from tax advantage accounts like IRAs and 401ks are the second biggest source at 20. You know where that 20% typically kicks in? At age 70 and a half. They have the retirement income necessary to get up to that age from their retirement age, and so they don't tap into those IRAs until they have to. One reason is because they want them to accumulate, and they want them to be there for a safety net for the future in a lump sum if they need it. It's usually in a liquid product. Secondly, they have to take out that RMD at 70 and a half, the required minimum distribution. So now it becomes an income source, and typically that may be about 20% of their income. Be careful, though, folks. That income is fully taxable. So if you didn't do some tax forward planning, that RMD could be something that puts you in another tax bracket and creates your retirement income that now might be less tax favorable than other sources. So part-time job was 12% you mentioned. A lot of people go back to work, but they do something that they want to do, and they're not concerned about the pay. Okay. So it's not that they have to; it's that they want to. Perhaps you're retired and you're sitting on a board of directors that you're getting some payments for, or consulting, or something like that. But 12% is a very realistic number. I see a lot of retirees still working because they want to. Service Corps of Retired Executives, I see them still working in little businesses that they've set up. If you are not aware of the resource folks in the local community, the Service Corps of Retired Executives SCORE is a great opportunity for you to glean information from these retirees that oftentimes were CFOs, CEOs, company owners, and now offer their wisdom.
Pretty sharp guys in that collection.
Through the Service Corps of Retired Executives. Withdrawals from savings accounts, 7%. So some people then do start taking money as a stream out of their savings account, or as necessary. Maybe they put the money in the savings account every year, build it up for travel or for a gift to a grandchild, or whatever the gifting may be. And then from specialty accounts, you mentioned 4%. Those specialty accounts would be accounts like cash value life insurance. That would be tax-free withdrawals through loan provisions in cash value life insurance, that perhaps the protection of the life insurance isn't so important anymore, but maybe the income that comes from that life insurance is useful. Where I do see life insurance used, especially for those that are the top secrets of the wealthy retirees, is using life insurance to leverage assets for future inheritance. And people that see that they're going to have this money left over oftentimes do a life insurance plan, a permanent life insurance plan that pays on the second to die's death. And those can be used to fund tax liabilities in the future for estates. They can be used for taxable assets that could be passed on, like the IRAs, to pay the taxes on them, because they might be doing a lump sum if proper planning isn't done. So anyway, I agree with all these percentages, Shane, that each one of these sources of retirement income funding sources are very valid, and the percentages that you just quoted are very realistic that I see in the retirement people that we talk with. Now, Shane, the retirement source always matters. Those who mainly get by on withdrawals from 401k or other financial accounts reinvest about a third of what they take out due to required minimum distributions, as I just mentioned. Those collecting guaranteed monthly income save typically around 25%. So this all makes perfect sense. Lifetime income, by definition, never runs out. Those who get most of their income this way are under far less pressure and are much more happy in retirement. And then those living off of withdrawals from financial accounts, which can run dry, do have a bit of stress involved with their retirement and have a concern that probability or that issue may occur, that they run out of money and live too long.
We are discussing the top secrets of wealthy retirees, an article found at time.com/money. If you have any questions regarding the topic here this morning, 843-735-5065, the number to call. Before we get back to the article, quick update. You've got a dinner seminar coming up this week at Ruth's Chris, correct?
Two of them.
Okay.
Two of them, Tuesday and Thursday next week. Typically, those events are offered to people that are in the retirement red zone, so to speak, maybe that 5 year before retirement or shortly right after retirement. We call it the retirement red zone after retirement because that's the time when you want to make sure your assets are positioned properly, because if you take a dip in those retirement assets, your income is certainly going to suffer in the future. So those that are retirement minded in the red zone, those that are already retired that want to learn some new facts, some ideas of what the most successful retirees have done now once they've reached retirement. Those ideas and insights will be offered during the Ruth Chris dinner workshop that we have coming up next Tuesday and Thursday. If you want to join us for that, there's two ways to do it. Visit the website, cfpgroup.biz. You can register online or call us right now, 735-5065. We'll email you out an invitation, which will go over all the details, which we will cover next Tuesday and Thursday evening.
Sounds good. Back to the article. It's tempting to assume, Rick, that affluent retirees keep saving simply because they have the means to live as they wish and still have income left over, but that probably sells them short. They had to save or work hard for their pension to get there. It's the habit that made it happen, and once established, it's tough to kick. Again, just because you retire doesn't mean it's time to stop saving, right?
That's right. Always save first. You've got income coming in now, folks, and it's not coming from your employer anymore. It's coming from your employee. And you might say, employee? I don't get that. Your employee now that's creating your income for you is that asset. It has to work hard for you. It has to work smart for you. It has to de-risk things for you so that you have that money throughout the remainder of your years. But the whole shift here is now your money is your employee. It's creating that paycheck for you that's now the paycheck in retirement. And that's the money that you are getting generated to yourself by the asset that you accumulated over your savings for your accumulation years. Now we move into retirement and we're distributing those assets, and we have to make sure that we distribute those assets properly to ourselves. But the first thing you should do is part of your retirement income plan should say, I want to keep saving part of that. I want to take a little piece of that income. I don't have to have it invested anymore because I have the adequate amount of money to save and pay out my expenses for. So save a little bit first, put it in that little rainy day bucket, and build it up for what your plans are to travel next year. Okay, save for the year for your travel plans. Always knowing that you can pay for those assets with cash and not take them out of your additional retirement savings in a lump sum lets us know that we have saved again for the right reasons, and we don't have to go raid those retirement accounts for unplanned, unforeseen circumstances that we didn't save money in a rainy day bucket for. Shane, the importance of savings and how it becomes a habit over time is what we're trying to make the point of here. If you were a good saver throughout your accumulation years prior to retirement, you should continue that same habit throughout your retirement years. And the benefit will be that you'll have a more successful, more happy, less stressful retirement because of those habits that got you to where you are today will continue to take you throughout your retirement years. And you'll always be, if you're saving, folks, then you're always prepared that if you live a long, healthy, productive retirement life, that it'll be your choice, by your choice, as to how that occurs versus if you hadn't saved and you hadn't had the resources that you have to get to where you are today.
About a minute and a half before we end the program here this morning, but I know you'd like to offer the book Income Allocation by David Gaylor, correct?
I do, Shane. Every week we've been offering that book, and every week we've had people taking us up on the offer of that book, and here's the reason why. We want to educate people on proper income planning for retirement. We will be offering 2 sets of courses at the College of Charleston in June and also in August this summer. Okay. And more details to follow. Information will be available on the website. But the first thing you need to do to get ready for that class is to read the book, Income Allocation. In the class, we'll go over the book. We'll go over the reasons why proper income allocation is so important. And you'll also walk out of that class with a retirement income plan that you'll be able to implement that plan throughout your retirement years. So that's an upcoming class. The book, Income Allocation, available to our first 5 listeners this morning that call in and are serious about doing proper retirement income planning. 735-5065. We'll send out those books next week. Thank you for listening to Retire Right this morning. I'm Rick Durkee. Join us again next Saturday morning here on 94.3 WSC and 94.3WSC.com at 9 a.m. for Retire Right with Rick Durkee.